Did you know that nearly 80% of women experience bloating at least once a week, and most don't even realize what's really causing it? Imagine waking up every morning feeling light, confident, and comfortable in your own body. Sounds impossible? It's not. Today, you'll hear a story that could change the way you look at your belly forever. Welcome to Woman Healthy Tips, your trusted space for science-backed practical advice made just for women. In today's video, we're diving deep into one woman's real transformation, from constant bloating and discomfort to a flat, energized, and beautiful belly. By the end of this video, you'll not only know what helped her, but you'll have 6 simple yet powerful steps to start your own journey. It all began with something many women experience but often ignore, that uncomfortable, bloated feeling that comes and goes without warning. She thought it was just a normal part of life. Each evening, her stomach would swell, her clothes would feel tighter, and she would glance in the mirror wondering why her belly looked different from the morning. The frustration built slowly, until one day she decided to understand what was really happening inside her body. She discovered something powerful. Bloating wasn't just about overeating or gaining weight. It was her body's way of sending a message that something inside needed attention. That realization was the first step toward her transformation. As she started noticing patterns, she became aware of how easily her choices throughout the day affected her belly. A cup of creamy coffee in the morning, a few biscuits in the afternoon, and dinner late at night were small actions that seemed harmless, but together they created an environment that made her digestion sluggish and her stomach puffed up. She began to see that every time she consumed highly processed foods or meals rich in sugar and salt, her belly reacted with discomfort. The next morning, she would wake up lighter, only for it to return by evening. This simple observation opened her eyes to the connection between what she ate and how she felt. Awareness was the turning point. Once she started keeping a food journal, noting what she ate and when the bloating occurred, she found clues her body had been trying to show her all along. Certain meals left her feeling heavy and tired, while others gave her energy and calmness. She realized that her body wasn't working against her, it was trying to guide her. By paying attention, she understood that bloating wasn't an enemy, it was information. This small habit of mindful tracking turned into one of her greatest tools for change, because knowledge gives power, and awareness gives direction. She started learning about how the body processes food and how digestion works. She discovered that digestion begins long before food reaches the stomach. It starts with the brain when you see or smell food. If you eat in a rush or while distracted, your brain doesn't prepare your digestive system properly. When she ate while scrolling on her phone or working at her desk, her stomach never got the signal to produce enough enzymes, and that left food sitting longer, fermenting, and creating gas. When she began to eat slowly, chew thoroughly, and truly enjoy her meals, her bloating started to lessen. What once felt complicated now seemed simple. Slow down and let your body do its work. Her awareness extended beyond food to lifestyle. She noticed that on days she was stressed or didn't sleep enough, her digestion became more sluggish. The belly isn't just a physical space for food, it's a reflection of what happens emotionally too. This discovery made her kinder to herself. She understood that her body was always communicating through signs and sensations, and bloating was one of them. By becoming aware instead of judgmental, she built a partnership with her body instead of fighting against it. This awareness stage taught her that transformation doesn't start with a diet or a workout. It starts with listening. Listening to what her body craved, when it was full, and how it reacted. She learned that skipping meals or restricting calories made her feel worse, not better. Her digestion needed consistency, not punishment. Awareness helped her break the cycle of frustration, guilt, and discomfort. It became her foundation, the beginning of a journey where understanding replaced confusion. As this new sense of awareness grew, she moved to the next part of her journey, the deeper understanding of her gut. She learned that her belly wasn't just about appearance, it was the home of trillions of bacteria that played a crucial role in how her body felt every single day. The gut, often called the second brain, was responsible not only for digesting food, but also for balancing hormones, boosting mood, and even supporting immunity. When she learned that a healthy gut could directly flatten her belly and improve her energy, it became her mission to take care of it. She discovered that not all bacteria were harmful. Some bacteria, known as good bacteria, help digest food, absorb nutrients, and reduce inflammation. But processed foods, stress, lack of fiber, and excessive sugar could destroy these friendly bacteria, creating an imbalance called dysbiosis. When this happened, her digestion slowed down, gas built up, and her belly bloated easily. It wasn't about calories or fat, it was about balance. She realized that her gut flora needed nourishment just like she did. So, she began to make small but consistent changes. She added yogurt, kefir, and fermented foods like sauerkraut and kimchi to her meals. She started eating more fiber-rich foods such as oats, apples, and leafy greens, which fed her good bacteria. At first, she was hesitant, unsure if such small changes could make a real difference. But after a few weeks, she felt lighter and noticed that her bloating was less frequent and her energy levels were higher. Her mood improved too, and she found herself more focused and positive throughout the day. She also realized the gut was deeply connected to her hormones. When her digestion improved, her menstrual cycles became more regular, her cravings decreased, and her skin looked clearer. It felt like everything in her body began working in harmony again. She understood that her gut wasn't just a physical organ, but a control center for overall well-being. Taking care of it meant taking care of her whole body. As she explored more, she learned that hydration played a big role in gut health. Drinking enough water helped her digestive system stay smooth and efficient. When she was dehydrated, her gut became sluggish, and bloating worsened. By simply increasing her water intake and cutting back on sugary drinks, she noticed her belly stayed flatter throughout the day. Her gut was communicating again, this time with comfort instead of distress. The more she learned about her gut, the more she respected it. She stopped chasing quick fixes and started focusing on nourishment. Every meal became an opportunity to feed her gut with what it needed. Instead of counting calories, she counted nutrients. Instead of fearing food, she celebrated it as a tool for healing. Her relationship with her body completely changed because she finally understood what it needed from her. This connection between the gut and the mind fascinated her. She learned that most of the serotonin, the happiness hormone, is produced in the gut. When her digestion was off, her mood dipped. But when she ate well, moved regularly, and stayed hydrated, she felt calmer and more confident. It wasn't just about looking better, it was about feeling better from within. The science behind it all made sense. A healthy gut supports a healthy mind, and a healthy mind leads to a happier body. As her awareness and gut health improved, her body naturally began to change. Her stomach became flatter, her energy lasted longer, and she no longer dreaded how she would feel after eating. She felt in control for the first time, not by strict dieting, but by listening, learning, and nurturing. She became more confident, not just because her belly looked different, but because she understood the science of her own body. She realized that true beauty comes from understanding, not struggle. The woman who once felt trapped by bloating and confusion had now found clarity. Every time she felt light and energetic, she remembered that awareness was where it all began. Her gut had become her guide, her partner in health. She had moved from frustration to peace, from guessing to knowing. That's when she understood that transformation isn't magic. It's science mixed with mindfulness. When you listen to your body, when you care for your gut, and when you make small, consistent changes, your body begins to respond beautifully. This part of her story teaches something essential. Bloating isn't the enemy, it's a messenger. The gut isn't a mystery, it's a guide. And awareness isn't passive. It's the first step toward empowerment. She had turned her story around simply by becoming conscious of her choices and nurturing her inner health. That's how her journey from bloated to beautiful truly began, not through drastic changes, but through a deeper connection with herself. There came a point in her journey when she had already made changes to her eating habits and started understanding her gut better. Yet some days she still woke up feeling bloated. That's when she discovered the hidden factor that most people ignore: stress. It surprised her that emotional pressure could physically change her body shape and make her belly feel heavy and tight. She learned that the human body reacts to stress in ways that go far beyond the mind. When stress levels rise, the body releases cortisol, a hormone meant to help in short bursts of danger. But when stress becomes constant, cortisol stays elevated, and that single change can cause the body to retain fat around the abdomen, slow down digestion, and make bloating worse. What she was experiencing was not just the result of food, but the reflection of her inner emotional state. Each time she rushed through the day, skipping meals or eating in a hurry, her body entered a mode of tension. Her breathing became shallow, her stomach muscles tightened, and her digestive system slowed down. It wasn't designed to digest food while under pressure. She noticed that on days filled with deadlines or emotional strain, even a light meal made her feel swollen. The problem wasn't just physical, it was hormonal and emotional too. Understanding this changed her perspective completely. She began to realize that reducing stress was as important as choosing healthy food if she wanted a flat and comfortable belly. She started to explore simple ways to calm her body. She learned that stress reduction didn't need to mean hours of meditation or long vacations. It could begin with something as simple as conscious breathing. Taking slow, deep breaths before a meal sent a message to her body that it was safe to digest. She started pausing before eating, closing her eyes for a few seconds, and inhaling deeply. That small act changed the way her body processed food. Digestion became smoother, and the bloated feeling that used to arrive in the evening started to fade. She also began to pay attention to her sleep. On nights when she slept well, she woke up lighter, her belly flatter, and her energy higher. When she stayed up late or scrolled through her phone in bed, her body felt tense the next day, and her digestion slowed. Lack of rest raised her cortisol, which again led to water retention and bloating. The connection was clear. To heal her belly, she needed to rest her mind. She began creating a nightly routine that included dim lights, herbal tea, and quiet time before bed. Slowly, her body started to trust her again. She found other small ways to manage stress that didn't feel like a chore. Walking outside early in the morning, spending a few minutes in sunlight, or listening to calming music worked wonders. These weren't big changes, but they had a big impact. Movement in particular became her secret weapon. She realized that walking wasn't just good for fitness, it helped regulate hormones and digestion too. Each step helped stimulate the intestines and reduce gas buildup. Her walks became her moving meditation where she could breathe deeply and let go of tension. This understanding of the connection between stress and the belly was a turning point. She had learned to calm her mind, and now she was ready to train her body in a smarter way. For years, she believed that hundreds of crunches or intense workouts were the only path to a flat belly. She used to exhaust herself at the gym, pushing harder each time, yet her stomach still felt bloated. The more she forced her body, the more it resisted. Then she learned something she had never been told before, that not all exercises support digestion and that overtraining can actually increase stress hormones. What she needed was balance, not punishment. She started studying how the body responds to different types of movement. She found that walking, light, strength training, and gentle core engagement were far more effective than endless ab exercises. Walking improved blood flow to her organs and kept her metabolism steady. Strength training helped her build lean muscle that naturally burned more calories even at rest. But what surprised her most was that posture and breathing played an even bigger role than she imagined. When she sat hunched over her phone or slouched at her desk, her abdominal muscles compressed and her digestion suffered. Simply standing tall and engaging her core improved how her stomach felt throughout the day. Her workouts shifted from exhausting routines to intentional movements. She began her mornings with stretches that activated her core and improved circulation. She focused on her breathing during every exercise, learning to use her diaphragm fully. This not only improved her posture, but also supported better oxygen flow to her digestive system. She added yoga-inspired poses that targeted her abdomen and lower back, which reduced tension and helped relieve bloating naturally. Movement became her way of nurturing her body, not fighting it. On days when she couldn't fit in a workout, she made sure to stay active in simple ways. Taking stairs instead of the elevator, walking after meals, or cleaning her space energetically became her natural activity. These movements kept her metabolism alive and her belly relaxed. She discovered that consistency mattered more than intensity. The key was not to push harder but to move regularly. Her body responded beautifully to this rhythm. The more she respected her limits, the more her belly cooperated. She also noticed a surprising link between her emotions and how she moved. When she exercised out of guilt or pressure, her body felt tight and her results were slower. But when she moved with joy, dancing around her room or doing light stretching with music she loved, her energy changed completely. Her digestion improved, her mood lifted, and she began to associate movement with self-care instead of punishment. The flat belly she once chased became a reflection of her balanced lifestyle. One of the most powerful lessons she learned during this phase was that the body thrives on circulation. Sitting for long hours restricted blood flow to her abdomen, leading to water retention and discomfort. Once she started taking small breaks to walk or stretch during work, she noticed how her belly stayed calm even after meals. Movement was more than fitness. It was her body's natural reset button. With time, she also realized that over-exercising could backfire. High-intensity workouts every single day without rest raised her cortisol again, bringing back bloating and fatigue. So she learned to balance her routine with rest days and gentle recovery practices. Listening to her body became her new rule. When she felt tired, she walked. When she felt strong, she lifted. And when she needed calm, she stretched. Each type of movement served a purpose, and all of them supported her journey from bloated to beautiful. Her approach was no longer about burning calories. It was about building harmony. She stopped comparing her body to others and started focusing on how she felt inside. With better stress control and intentional movement, her digestion became more efficient, her posture improved, and her belly naturally began to flatten. What once felt like a constant battle turned into a graceful balance between the mind and the body. She found peace in knowing that the body always responds when you give it what it needs. Her new lifestyle wasn't built on extremes, it was built on understanding. The combination of calmness, conscious breathing, and consistent movement became her foundation. Her day started with gratitude and ended with peace. She no longer feared food, stress, or exercise. She had learned that the secret to a flat belly wasn't hidden in diets or workouts, but in alignment. When the mind is calm, digestion works better. When movement is consistent, the body feels lighter. This connection between stress, hormones, and movement reshaped the way she viewed wellness. It wasn't about fighting the belly anymore, it was about supporting it. She learned that the human body is naturally intelligent, and that when you give it rest, nourishment, and gentle activity, it finds its balance on its own. Her transformation wasn't dramatic overnight. It was built through daily choices that respected her body's natural rhythm. Every time she managed stress with calm breathing, every time she walked after a meal, every time she stretched her core instead of straining it, her body responded with gratitude. What she once saw as flaws became signals guiding her toward healing. Bloating, discomfort, and fatigue were not enemies. They were teachers. Her journey through managing stress and adopting mindful movement turned her story into one of empowerment. She learned that a calm mind and a moving body are the most powerful tools any woman can use to transform her belly and her life. As her journey continued, she realized that one of the simplest yet most overlooked elements of her daily routine was what she drank. For years, she believed hydration was just about avoiding thirst, but she never understood how deeply it affected her belly, her digestion, and her overall energy. It started to make sense when she noticed that on days she drank mostly coffee or sweetened drinks, her belly would swell, her skin would feel tight, and her body felt heavier. What she didn't know back then was that dehydration triggers the body to retain water, leading to bloating and sluggish digestion. When the body doesn't receive enough fluid, it clings to every drop it can, causing puffiness, especially around the abdomen. She realized her belly wasn't just reacting to food, it was reacting to her drinking habits too. She started paying attention to how her body felt with different drinks. Coffee gave her an instant boost but left her jittery and dry. Sugary juices gave her energy for a moment but ended with fatigue and heaviness. Her body craved hydration that worked with it, not against it. So she began a simple practice, starting each morning with a glass of warm water and a squeeze of lemon. It cleansed her system, woke up her digestion, and set the tone for her day. That first glass was more than hydration. It became a gentle signal to her body that it was time to wake up, detoxify, and digest. As she continued, she replaced some of her coffee with herbal teas that supported digestion, such as peppermint, ginger, and fennel. These natural teas soothed her stomach, reduced gas formation, and gave her a calm energy without the crash. She discovered that what she drank could heal or harm her gut depending on the choices she made. With time, she noticed her belly felt lighter even on days when her meals weren't perfect. Water had become her most powerful tool for reducing bloating naturally. She began to learn more about how water interacts with the body. She found out that proper hydration helps the intestines move waste efficiently. Without it, digestion slows down, leading to trapped gas and swelling. She realized that dehydration could also confuse the body into thinking it was hungry, leading her to eat unnecessarily and worsen bloating. So she made a habit of drinking a glass of water before every meal. It helped her eat more mindfully, improved digestion, and kept her metabolism active throughout the day. One of her biggest discoveries was the importance of balance and hydration. Drinking too little made her body hold on to water, but drinking too much at once diluted her stomach acids and slowed digestion. She learned to sip water steadily throughout the day instead of gulping large amounts in one go. She carried a bottle everywhere, reminding herself that every sip was helping her body cleanse and function better. Slowly, her belly became flatter, not because of strict control, but because her body finally had what it needed to perform naturally. She also noticed the importance of electrolytes, the minerals that help the body retain water properly and keep digestion balanced. When she added a pinch of natural salt or a slice of fruit to her water, it made a big difference. Her energy lasted longer and her stomach didn't feel heavy. It wasn't about fancy drinks or supplements, it was about simple hydration done right. The more she paid attention, the more her body rewarded her with lightness and comfort. Hydration wasn't the only part that mattered. She began to realize that how she balanced her meals and lifestyle also influenced her belly. When she ate with awareness, included whole foods, and allowed her body to rest, everything worked better. Her digestion became predictable, and her body felt in tune. She had finally found stability, and that stability showed on the outside as a calm, flat belly. Yet, one part of her transformation stood out more than anything else: her mindset. She discovered that the most powerful transformation doesn't happen in the gym or the kitchen, it happens in the mind. For years, she looked at her belly with frustration, calling it stubborn or problematic. Every time she felt bloated, she saw it as failure. But what changed everything was the moment she decided to stop fighting her body. She began to see her belly not as an enemy, but as a communicator. It wasn't there to make her feel bad, it was there to guide her. That shift in perspective turned her journey into something peaceful and empowering. She started treating her body with kindness. Instead of skipping meals or punishing herself with long workouts, she focused on nourishment and balance. She learned that stress, guilt, and self-criticism all increase cortisol, the same hormone that stores belly fat. Every negative thought about her body was silently working against her progress. When she began to practice gratitude for her body, her belly responded with calmness. Her digestion improved when she ate without anxiety. Her metabolism became steadier, and her entire energy shifted. She began speaking to herself differently. Instead of saying, "I need to lose this belly," she said, "I'm helping my body heal." That one change in language made her choices more loving and consistent. She no longer forced changes. She supported them. Her meals became moments of care rather than control. When she looked in the mirror, she didn't see a problem to fix. She saw a person. Learning to trust her body again. This mindset wasn't built overnight. It was cultivated through daily awareness. Every time she caught herself thinking negatively, she reminded herself of how far she had come. As her mindset evolved, her habits became effortless. She no longer needed motivation to drink water, move her body, or rest. It became natural because she was no longer driven by frustration. She was driven by self-respect. She learned that the body thrives in an environment of kindness, not criticism. Her journey wasn't about chasing a flat belly anymore. It was about creating harmony between her mind, her hormones, and her habits. She also noticed how her environment affected her mindset. Surrounding herself with positive people, reading about health instead of quick fixes, and spending time in nature all supported her transformation. When she distanced herself from negativity and comparison, her confidence grew. She understood that beauty was not about perfection, but about balance and authenticity. Her body was unique, and its rhythm was worth respecting. One of the biggest lessons she learned was that the body listens to emotions. When she was tense or anxious, her digestion would slow and bloating would return. But when she felt relaxed and happy, her body processed food effortlessly. That realization gave her the power to choose peace over pressure. She began small rituals to support her emotional balance, like writing down 3 things she was grateful for each morning, or sitting quietly for a few minutes to focus on her breath. These habits didn't take much time but transformed her relationship with her body. As her confidence grew, so did her awareness of what true wellness means. She realized that a flat belly wasn't a sign of restriction, it was a sign of balance. It reflected a body that was hydrated, nourished, rested, and emotionally at peace. The more she focused on her internal well-being, the more her outer appearance aligned, naturally. She didn't have to chase beauty. She began to embody it. Every decision she made from that point on was guided by understanding rather than fear. Her story became a reflection of what many women experience without realizing it. The journey from bloated to beautiful wasn't just physical, it was emotional, mental, and spiritual. It was about reconnecting with the body and learning to listen to its needs instead of silencing them. She understood that transformation isn't about doing more, it's about doing the right things with the right intention. When the mind and body work together, healing happens on every level. She learned that small acts of self-care carried great power. Drinking enough water, sleeping on time, eating slowly, and being kind to herself created a ripple effect. Her belly became flatter, not through struggle, but through surrender. She stopped seeing wellness as a battle and started seeing it as a journey of understanding. Her energy became steady, her mood stable, and her reflection confident. She had finally found peace in her own body. Her mindset became her strongest foundation. It was what allowed her to stay consistent even on hard days. When bloating occasionally returned, she no longer panicked. Instead, she calmly assessed what her body was trying to tell her. Maybe she had less sleep, maybe she was stressed, maybe she needed more water. She responded with care instead of criticism. This calm approach not only improved her digestion but also gave her emotional resilience. She learned that healing isn't linear and that every step forward, no matter how small, counts. With her new outlook, she began to inspire others. Friends noticed how she glowed differently, not just in appearance but in presence. Her story became an example of what happens when you replace fear with knowledge and frustration with patience. The transformation she experienced was real, sustainable, and rooted in science and self-love. Her flat belly was no longer a dream. It was the natural outcome of balance. The connection between hydration, nourishment, and mindset became the heart of her journey. She understood that when the body is cared for and the mind is peaceful, everything aligns. She didn't need extremes, only consistency. Every sip of water, every calm breath, every moment of gratitude contributed to her transformation. The woman who once felt trapped by bloating had learned to trust her body again. What once felt like a problem had turned into her greatest teacher, guiding her toward a healthier, happier, and lighter life from within. Her story is proof that bloating isn't a life sentence, it's a message. When you listen to your body, care for your gut, manage stress, move with purpose, hydrate wisely, and shift your mindset, transformation happens. If you found this story inspiring and want more science-based tips for women's health, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Woman Healthy Tips, and share your own journey in the comments below. Remember, beauty isn't about perfection. It's about balance, confidence, and care. Start small, stay consistent, and watch your body thank you in ways you never imagined. Because every woman deserves to feel light, strong, and beautiful inside and out.